Hey, hey, hey. How you doing? Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. The channel's doing good, and I appreciate all the new views and new subscribers and all that other good stuff. And it's awesome. Listen, today I have to do this. I have to do this video. This is going to be, my thoughts on cats, cat people, but also my humor, because apparently some of you people don't get it. I get it that you don't get it. I'm from New Jersey. We're not for everybody. It's crazy, man. Look, when I tell you something about my life, I'm telling you a story, and I'm telling you that happened. It happened. Every once in a while, it's not that often, really, but every once in a while, I pepper in a little bullshit, just for the sake of a laugh. Maybe I make something a little bit more entertaining. I do few little seeds, little thing. I sell the premise. This thing where you say something and then you act a certain way, like you do some mannerisms or something to like make people realize like you're really thinking about it, because that helps you. It makes the whole thing more believable for that moment. So you're really picturing these things in your mind, and that's what makes you laugh. It's the science of comedy here, people. I didn't invent it. I just been studying it. I've had a pretty interesting life. Having said that, there's plenty of people I watch on YouTube or other comics or whatever. It blows my mind, because I'm like, gee whiz, as interesting as some people think my life is, a lot of these people did way more crazier stuff than I'll ever do. Also, I'm going off on a tangent here. This is really more about another video I wanted to make on this subject. Maybe I'll hold it to that. Let's just get to the cat thing, because apparently I'm upsetting some people. Because like I mentioned, the cat ladies, the cat women. This has been a thing. Like the crazy cat lady thing has been a thing forever. And there's actual science on it, which I'm going to read you. I'm going to read you an article. But first I'm going to read a comment here from a guy. He's a nice guy. He's been watching the channel for a long time. He's a dude with a cat, and he's taking umbrage with the fact that I keep, according to him, I guess I'm too often mentioning cats being associated with crazy behavior. Mostly women, right? So I'm going to read his comment, and then I'm going to tell you guys my history with people with cats, and my own history with cats, some of which is pretty funny, some of it's kind of disgusting, but you're going to get the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, except maybe a little bit of bullshit just to make you chuckle. It's up to you to figure out what part of it is bullshit. If I'm telling you, look, this is real, this is 100%, this is what happened, then that 100%, that's what happened. No bullshit. But, so this guy, this isn't one of those situations, by the way, where I'm picking on somebody. Like, somebody leaves a dumb comment. This just made me think, because I hear what he's saying. But when I read the article, I'm going to reference, I want you to remember this note here. And then when I read this article, I want you to think back to this note. All right? You hear what I'm saying? But this guy left a comment. I won't mention his name, but you guys can find it in the comments of my last video. You're a good carpenter. I have to admit, I have built up enough clout after watching your channel for years and getting others to subscribe as well. So I'm just going to get this off my chest, off my mind rather. I didn't plan to, but it needs to be said. I don't like the way that you bag on cat women. I'm neither a woman or a cat, but I like cats. And I know some tough-ass war vets who like them as well. And we're all straight men and tough as nails like you. Cats are cool. They don't bother you. They don't bother you when you work. They don't need you. They are for secure people who don't need constant validation. It is simply not true when you say ingesting cat litter causes you to go mental. Okay, I never said that. Never said that. I mentioned litter boxes in the house because there is a parasite that comes from cat poop, which you're going to know. If you don't know about this, I'm going to read you the article. It's a real thing. It's a real thing. But I never said ingesting cat litter. I never said that. That's like Tide Pod stuff or drinking bleach and other crap that was never said that people hear. The people that are hearing things that were never said, they own cats. You see what I'm saying? Like, You're not mental, but you're saying things that I said that I didn't say. So I've had cats for 30 years, and my IQ is still 142. So go get a dog, and I gotta extend this here. Go get a dog and be happy, but don't shit on cat people. JD Vance will do that for you. So it sounds like this is probably, I'm assuming, I'm making an assumption, never assume, because when you spell that word assumption out or assume, it makes an ass out of you and me. I remember that from The Odd Couple. So he might be leaning to the left because he mentioned the JD Vance thing. It's fine. All JD Vance was doing was reciting a joke that's been around forever. JD Vance is a friggin' Marine, man. That's how we talk. That's how it is. That's what we've seen. Like, jokes are the sorts of things, jokes and what's the word I'm looking for? It's not the things that they people say over and over again about certain things. There's a word for this that I can't think of right now. It's so ridiculous. It's like the most basic thing. But they exist because, generally speaking, it's true. If people have been saying the same thing for hundreds of years, that's because, generally speaking, it's true. That's just how it is. Now, let's just read this article. So there's a bunch of real good articles. I'm actually reading one from a online magazine called The Thrill List. I'm doing that because they actually did an article on me. Look up Mike Z Design on The Thrill List sometime. They did a pretty good job. It was many years ago. But I read a bunch of them, and they weren't as entertaining, and this is a little bit more entertaining the way it's written. It starts off a little goofy, so I'm just going to cut through the first couple paragraphs. But it gets into the, it's a cat-borne parasite called Toxoplasma gondii. It's Toxoplasma, and gondii, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. I may not be. It's Gondii. Toxoplasma gondii. There's a bunch of $3 words in here that I'm probably going to mispronounce, and I'm reading this without glasses. So let's see how this goes. So let's talk parasites and cat poop. Yes, it's true that cats are the source of an extremely common parasite, but there's a lot more to this protozoan than chalking its effects up to meow mania. So, I actually don't like a lot of the obnoxious type of writing, but again, this article does get good, so bear with me. Toxoplasma gondii are single-celled parasites whose only definitive primary hosts are cats. In other words, the parasite must infect a cat if it wants to lay eggs. And it does, because it's a parasite, and perpetuation of its perpetuation is its evolutionary function. Toxoplasma gondii eggs, or this is a weird word I've never seen before, oocysts. So it's oocysts, or just oacysts. Maybe one O is not pronounced. I don't know. I'm not a literary scholar, but I know what a woman is. So oocysts are then excreted by infected cats in their feces, and it can be consumed by humans and other mammals in a number of ways. An estimated 2 billion people worldwide, 60 million in the United States, are infected with Toxoplasma gondii. That's a lot of cat poop, and the parasites embedded within bear long shelf life. Okay. Wait! Consume cat feces? What the hell are you saying? You're probably asking in revulsion. Yes, consume cat feces by way of drinking contaminated water, eating undercooked meat, and in parentheses, of animals that grazed or hunted in soil where an infected cat defecated. Handling and eating unwashed produce planted in a garden visited by an infected cat, or cleaning an infected cat's litter box. The danger is particularly high for kids playing in sandboxes. The McMansions of litter boxes for cats on the go. Okay. Kittens are most vulnerable for infection, and a single cat infected by Toxoplasma gondii can shed up to 500 million oocysts in 2 weeks. At any given time, it has been estimated that approximately 1% of cats are excreting this. They're abbreviating it. They're just going to call it T. gondii, and I might just continue to do that throughout the article. It's not what I do for a living, folks. Okay, let me start that over again. At any given time, it has been estimated that approximately 1% of cats are excreting T. gondii oocysts. That comes from the Medical Research Institute, adding that American backyards and communities contain between 3 and 400 oocysts per square foot. Insofar as these communities are representative of the United States population, the 81.7 million owned cats would produce 856,930 tons of outdoor cat feces each year. Assuming there are only 25 million feral cats, these would produce another 360,459 tons of cat feces, resulting in a total accumulation of 1,217,389 tons deposited annually in the environment of the United States. This is cat poop that exists in the United States outside. That's a lot of cat poop, and the parasites embedded within it bear a long shelf life. Oocysts can survive in warm climates with moist soil or seawater for 1 year. Even one oocyst is enough to infect a human. So, can this parasite actually control human brains, is the question. Not everyone infected with Toxoplasma gondii suffers toxoplasmosis, a serious illness that can cause miscarriage, fetal development disorders, retinal damage, brain damage, and death. The majority of the 2 billion people infected with the parasite don't know they have it and never will. Because, I mean, once you're crazy, you don't know you're crazy. You think you make sense, you know? You're on TV telling people what to do and how to live. Those people. But for those who develop toxoplasmosis, the results can be devastating. It's the most common cause of infection of the black eye. This is coming from a doctor, a professor of ophthalmology and visual science pediatrics at the Toxoplasmosis Center, University of Chicago. Oh, what do you know? It's so serious, this exists. It can cause epilepsy. It can be devastating for a baby. It can be devastating for someone with compromised immune system. Those most at risk are pregnant women who can transmit the infection to fetuses in utero, children, individuals undergoing immunosuppressive therapy like cancer treatment, and individuals suffering from immunosuppressive diseases like AIDS. Most people, of course, won't be eaten by cats. This is another heading. The medical dangers of Toxoplasma gondii have been known for decades. The mental health implications of Toxoplasma gondii are comparatively new on the scene, but gathering more credibility in the field. Czech parasitologist and evolutionary biologist Jaroslav Flieger long considered fringe for his theory that the parasite can manipulate human personality, found in 2 separate studies that subjects testing positive for Toxoplasma gondii were over twice as likely to be in a car wreck. It just keeps getting better. Flieger maintains that those infected with the parasite are less fearful and exhibit slower response times, a conclusion that connects neatly with the parasitologist Joanne Webster's findings on fatal feline attraction, wherein Webster and her team observed that toxo-infected rats were drawn to cat urine, despite the inevitability of that attraction essentially equating with suicide, meaning you get this parasite in your brain and it makes you want to be around cats more. So the test that they did with the rats made them attracted to cats, leading them to their death, because as we know, cats kill and eat rats. If you're lucky, they bring it home for you as a little gift and leave it on your doorstep. So that's what they're getting into. I'm going to skip all this here because there's a lot to read. But basically, you guys should read this and you should look it up, but it can rewire your brain in a certain way. And so that's the thing. It's a parasite that's in the poop that you can get in your system. And the thing about it is there's nothing wrong with owning cats. It's just, you got to be careful with it and be very clean with them. Now, let's jump to like some memories that I have with cats. What else do I have here? I have another. Oh, yeah. We're going to get to this story. So, when I was a kid, every time I went to my grandmother's house, there was this cat there, Mitz, orange cat, like Garfield. You know what I'm saying? And the story with this cat was that my uncle, my youngest uncle, who's only 10 years older than me, and an asshole, assholes, they really run in my family. So it should be no surprise if you think I'm an asshole. I can't tell if it's my family or it's just Jersey. A lot of assholes. There's assholes everywhere. So most people are assholes, or can be. Most people have the ability to be an asshole, but the better version of us realizes that we try not to be an asshole all the time. Every once in a while, it's appropriate to be an asshole. Everyone, yeah. Anyhow, I had this one uncle. He was the middle uncle, who's dead. He was an asshole. And I remember him getting stoned and like trying to program my brain for me about this. Like, everybody's an asshole. And I'm like, I'm not an asshole. You're an asshole. There's a difference. Let's stop talking about assholes. I'm Greek. Maybe that's just part of my DNA. Anyhow, friggin' Mitz. That's the cat's name, Mitz. And the story was that my uncle was driving down the road and somebody threw a paper bag out the window up ahead of him, and he saw the bag kind of moving around. And he got out, and it was a kitten in the bag. Horrible. So he took it home, and that was Mitz. And Mitz was my life, part of my life, my whole life, as far as I remember. I don't remember ever being at that house when Mitz wasn't there. And my uncle, again, he's only 10 years older than me. He lived at home until he left for the Army. And he had this room upstairs. It was a pretty cool room. I go in there and check it out, and he had the old G.I. Joes and all that. And I checked that stuff out. And one day I walked by the bed, and Mitz was on the bed, and I just walked by. I didn't go near the cat, didn't go to pet the cat. That's the thing with me, by the way. I don't approach anybody's animals. I let animals get used to me being around and let them approach me. And that's the way you should do it. Whenever I'm on the street or out and about, and I see, especially if I'm with some girl and she sees other people's animals and she's got to bend down and pet their animals and that's friggin' crazy. You don't know that animal doesn't know you, and it's an animal. You don't know how it's going to react. I would never do that in a million years. Anyhow, I walked by the cat, and as I walked by the cat, it just went one more time, and with its claw, it took a perfect, it was crazy. It took like this perfectly round divot hole out of my wrist. You only bleed at certain levels of your skin. You could do a certain cut and it won't really bleed much, but you cut 1 millimeter more and it just bleeds like a sieve. That's what it was. It just was a perfect circle chunk out of my wrist, but it didn't bleed. And I remember looking at it, and that cat just looked at me like I was an asshole. You like cats even more now, don't you? You're like, yay for that cat. Screw that guy, he's an asshole. So I never forgot that, it's always been a thing. And it's funny too, just coincidentally, and by the way, my humor thing, again, let's just jump back to this really quick. You people have to stop taking me so literally on everything, or even that seriously. This is just me telling stories and telling you what I think about stuff. You don't have to agree with me. I'm not trying to get anybody to agree with me or think the way I think or do the things I do or any of that stuff. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. That's all it is. So get off your high horse there. But there was a time, the same thing with Trump, the same thing with him when he first came up, and the media is trying to take him literally with everything. If you watch him speak yourself, you realize he's a comedian. He's friggin' hysterical. Now, you might not like that. You might not like it because you think that a guy who's president or running for president shouldn't be like that. But that's how he is. You don't have to like it. For me, I could care less one way or the other. He cracked me up. I like that, but I liked his job performance. That's what I liked about it. But this is the thing that people will do, and that's what people are doing to me. It's taking me literally with stuff when I'm clearly just trying to keep things light and make you laugh. You shouldn't come here for advice on life or anything like that. I'm telling you what I think. If you get something out of it, that's awesome. But don't base your life decisions on the things I've done or am doing or the things I tell you about. I'm not going to be responsible for you screwing your life up because you did something I did. All right? I'm not telling you to do anything I've done. So it's just a very important thing to understand. Just don't take me so literally about things. when Trump first came around, I had these friends of mine that I'm not friends with anymore. I mean, if I saw them out, of course, I'd be nice to them. They're not my enemy. But it got to the point where I couldn't even go to their house. Some of them were clients of mine. And ironically, and this is not kidding around, this is the truth, quite a few of these people that were so delusional, the TDS thing that was going on, happened to own multiple cats. And they would just get so livid and crazy about what they were being brainwashed with the media, watching CNN all day and that sort of thing, where they were just believing all this stuff that we know now are lies, that they just went off the deep end. Now, you can even go back on my Mike Z Design Facebook page, and you can look at I used to do complete picture folders of projects I was making. And you'll see in some of them I'm wearing a bandana. This is before COVID and all that. Because some of these houses I was in, I'd have to wear a mask or a bandana or something because there's just so much cat dander in the house. If I didn't do that, I got sick. Now, I don't remember when this was, the exact year. It was quite some time ago. Before 2010, for sure. There was a guy still there, Vienna Woods over here on La Brea. It's very close to where my workshop is now. And he does Biedermeier style furniture. And I went in there and talked with him, and he agreed to take me on kind of as an apprentice to learn how to do veneer, which I'd never done before. By the way, I did this beautiful piece. There was only a couple known to exist in museums in Europe, and we got the paperwork, like a mechanical drawing for a piece from Vienna, actually a museum there, and I reproduced this piece, and I nailed it perfect. And I'd never done veneer before, and I nailed it perfect. So the problem was, our deal was going to be, he was going to show me how to do that. He was paying me, but not very much money. And I was reorganizing his shop space. He had this giant space, and I was going to take over a corner in his shop and move my tools over there, start producing my furniture pieces, and put them on his showroom with his Biedermeier stuff, because that would have went well together. It would have been great, because all this guy's clients are affluent people, and rich and famous people, that sort of things. This guy also happens to be a painter. Janusz Maskowitz, really cool guy, fun guy, from Poland, great human being, master carver, master furniture builder, amazing guy. And I used to hang out with his daughter, who was going out with my buddy, and we all used to ride motorcycles together back around that time. Anyhow, I kept getting sick. It was like every week, I'd get sick. I say I can't come in for a couple of days. I don't know what's going on with me. I don't understand it. And I'd feel better, and I'd go back, and I'd be there for a couple of days, and I'd get sick again. I just couldn't make it out. And I finally got so sick, I was out of work for weeks. It was like a really crazy pneumonia, and I lost my sense of hearing to a certain extent. I lost my sense of smell completely for something like 6 months. And when I finally felt, what didn't take me 6 months, but I was gone there for like 5 weeks or something. I just couldn't do anything. It was crazy. I finally went back, and I'd finished his project, and I'd finished sorting everything out, and I built all this shelving suspended down from the ceiling. I got all this stuff up there to make all this room. I made his whole factory way better than it was. And I got in there, and I started putting my tools in there, because we were going to do this arrangement, and a cat walked by, and all of a sudden I got it. Instantaneously, my eyes were red, almost puffy to the point where they were closing. My throat, I couldn't breathe. And that's when I put it together. I'm allergic to these friggin' cats, man. And it was because there was so much dander built up in this space over decades of having cats in there and them living in there and the place never being cleaned. I was moving all this stuff around. The little coat of dust on everything was just cat dander. And I was basically poisoning myself. And ever since then, I've been really susceptible to this, highly allergic. It's a real friggin' problem, man. Matter of fact, this crazy person's living next door to me now. I did that video, why normies can't get along with loonies. She faked me out when she moved in, but she's got a cat, and she's got the hoop, piercing that looks like it belongs on a cow right here, and all the tattoos and the goofy clothes and everything. She's, not all lefties are loonies. We know this. We've discussed it already. But she happens to be a loony lefty too. And now lately, I'm not talking to her because I can't trust her. Like, I don't know if she's going to misrepresent or misunderstand anything I say. So I'm just not saying anything, right? That's the way to do it. Problem is, now she's in this habit of leaving her front door open and letting her cat hang out in the hallway at the top of the stairs and go to the bottom of the stairs where there's a steel door. She's treating the hallway like it's her own apartment. And it's not. And I got to do something about this now because I've been feeling kind of weird. And the thing is, if the cat's hanging out by my front door and her front door, and that's happening, and air comes up from underneath the door, I'm breathing this stuff in. That's probably why I haven't been feeling very good lately. So it's a serious thing for me, man. So, and I'm just saying, so I just noticed that people were going nuts. They happen to have cats. I've gone out with a bunch of girls, or I've been out with girls and their girlfriends. We go to their house and they're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and they got a bunch of freaking cats there. The idea of the crazy cat person has existed for a long time because you just happen to notice it. Now, you could also be crazy and not own a cat. 100%. Absolutely. That's the way it is, man. If you happen to be crazy and own a cat, I'm not even saying that those cats made you crazy. When I do say that, I'm joking around, man. I'm just joking around. So take it easy. By the way, if you have a bunch of cats and you're offended by me making these jokes to the point where you type out a comment, think about what you're doing, because that's a little crazy. Those are your own actions, man. So anyhow, I've got to mention this other thing, and this isn't really... it wasn't really caused by cats, right? I kind of thought it was at the time. So this is going to be kind of a gross story, but it's the truth. It's not one of my finer moments. It is true that I have slept with lesbians, quite a few of them. And I make the joke, just because it sounds ridiculous, I like to say, lesbian sex is some of the best sex you'll ever have. That's not true. It's good. It's fine. I'll let you in on a little secret. It is true that I did this thing for about a year. I mean, I hung out with these people for many years, but for about a year, for a season, there was this group of girls here in town. They do an athletic thing. I don't want to get too into it because I don't want to say it on the video for people to look this up, and then because I'm still friends with some of these people. But it was all girls, and it was an athletic event where they competed in it, and I ran their security for the first season. And many of those girls identify as lesbians. And this is like, I think, 2004-ish about, I don't remember, in that range. A friend of mine started it here, and she's on my case about it. You got to come and go to a practice, and I kept blowing it off. I finally went, and I thought, oh, this is kind of cool. I asked her if she still wanted help, and she asked me to do her security. Well, a bunch of these girls, they're like dudes, man, as far as they do their thing, they do their event, and afterwards they want to drink beer, do some shots, get high, whatever, and they want to fuck. They want to get fucked. They want to, they want to have sex just like anybody else would, and they were athletic, so most of them were in really good shape and everything else. And quite a few of them, like I was saying, identify as lesbians, like straight up married to women, or only went out with girls. That's when I heard about the Gold Star lesbian. You know the Gold Star lesbian? The Gold Star lesbian is a woman who's never been with a man, has only ever had sex with women. I know a couple of them too, and none of them ever slept with me. But I never approached any of these women because... Actually, I never approached any of those women as far as tried to make something happen. It was always being out at the bar or a house party. We did a lot of house parties, and they would just come right up to me. They were very aggressive about it. And I was probably a good solid 10 years older, at least, maybe more than most of those people at that time. We were having a good time. But many times, one of these women who identifies as a lesbian, as far as I knew, they were only into women, would straight up just be macking on me. They're making out, they're grabbing my crotch, they're taking me home, and I was sworn to secrecy. I'm not going to be using any names here or anything else, but they make you swear to this. They're like, you can't tell anybody that we did this. And every single one of them basically said the same exact thing to me. They prefer the penis. They just don't like men. That's all it was. They just didn't like men. They didn't like most of the men that they grew up around, were raised around, are around them now, all of it. And it was funny too, because a lot of these girls are the types that they are left-leaning people. So the men that hang out with these types of women, they're beta males for the most part. So a lot of these lesbians, they don't like beta males either. They don't see them as manly. It's really this irony going on in this group of people. They're just contradicting their own thoughts. It's really amazing when you break it down. Like, you could do a whole sociological paper on this. You could write a book on it, on how these people interact with one another and what they say out loud versus what they really think when they're talking to you and it's just you and them. Fascinating stuff. But the secret is, like, they swear you to this. They just say, listen, you just can't tell anybody. You can't tell anybody because that will ruin my life. Right? So they identify as a lesbian. They can't be known to be fucking a dude. That's what it boils down to. And none of them were really that great. A couple of them were a lot of fun as far as just the act of it. As far as human beings, they were all cool. I got along with all of them. We made each other laugh. We had a good time. A lot of naked hot tub parties and all that. But this one time, I'll never forget it because it was just so visceral, like, of the sensate, like the smell and everything. There was this girl, a little more of a tomboy, very no mystery that she'd be a lesbian. You look at her and you go, that's a lesbian. But fun, like super cool. And I will say this too, because you're asking yourselves, well, what was it about you that made lesbians want to sleep with you? What I was told was that I was cool and I made them laugh, and I wasn't, contrary to what a lot of people here think, I'm really not that full of myself. When I'm out and about, I'm just a cool guy. I don't try to dominate a conversation or anything like that. I'm not bloviating, telling everybody else how it is. But when a certain subject comes up and I know what I'm talking about, I interject it. And so, I sound smart. I know what the fuck I'm talking about with anything that I want to engage with. And I was funny, and they thought I was attractive, and all that kind of stuff. Whatever it was about my physique and everything else, visually they found me attractive, but they also liked who I was as a person. That's what they said. You're the first guy I met that I find interesting. You're interesting, you're smart, you're good looking, you're funny. All those things is what I fit those categories for them enough to where, boom, got the juices flowing, and they wanted it, man. And these girls were bold, and this was one of those girls. And it was crazy too because she was very athletic. I mean, abs, athletic body, muscular legs and arms and everything. Like, the body was friggin' incredible. So I'm like, what? I'm not going to turn that down. Who am I to deny anybody? They know I'm going to do a video, so they just start flying around. So we're in the bar, and we're in front of everybody. She's making out with me in front of a bunch of her friends. It's the end of the night. Lights come on. She takes me back to her place. Now, when we got to her place, as soon as the door opened, I should have turned around and walked away. Because as soon as the door opened, it smelled like cat piss. It was disgusting. I was like, oh. But I was also drunk, and I had a massive erection. So, like, she had me going, man, the whole way there, everything. So, like, I'm like, this is happening, man. And she had multiple cats, man. It was just, this is the old adage, right? I'm proving I'm a Marine here because that's the old joke. Marines will literally sleep with anything or anybody. If you want it destroyed, killed, or pregnant, call a Marine. Because I was just locked on, man, and I should have thought better of this. But we got it on, and we started with condoms and all that, and then there wasn't any more condoms after a while because it was an all-night event. But when we first got down there, I looked at her bed. There's a freaking big old dildo on the bed, and there's cats on the bed. So I'm not. This is why because what happened was I'm not going to go through all the details of that evening. But there's this thing called trichomoniasis, which is a parasite, which I ended up getting from this woman. And it's not a big deal. You go and you get a shot, antibiotics. It did take a couple times for me to get rid of it, I'm clean, by the way. I've never had anything serious. I've never had anything you can't get rid of. No warts, no AIDS, nothing like that. No syphilis. But a few things like this crops up once in a while when you live the life that I lived. I never had this before either. and I'd never heard of it before. And the doctors explained to me what it is, and it's trichomoniasis is a common but curable sexually transmitted disease, a parasite. Uh, it causes what they call trich. Most people that have it don't know it, and women have it mostly. It's really funny the way that they put this, because it says here only about 30%. Okay, it says it's most common. It's the most common non-viral sexually transmitted infection globally. Anyone who has sex can get trich. Approximately 3.7 million people have the infection in the United States. Only about 30% of people have symptoms. Trichomoniasis is more common in black women and people assigned female at birth. That's the dumbest sentence I've ever read. Trichomoniasis is more common in black women and people assigned female at birth. Women. It's women. If you have a vagina, there's a good chance you can have this if you get it. You know, you're passing it around to people. So, because of the cats, because of the cat piss, when I got and because of the giant dildo on the bed, with cats on the bed and cat hair on the bed and everything else. By the way, obviously, this is before I got sick in the shop. That happened many years later. So this is before I knew I was allergic to cats and everything. I didn't have like a strong allergic reaction to cats until after I got really sick at that furniture place. Now I can't even be around it. Talking about it right now is making my cheeks feel numb. Like I'm actually feeling the symptoms of it just because I'm thinking about it. That's how serious of an issue this is for me personally. So, and this is not a joke. This part of the video is not meant to be funny. There's a bunch of guys, Marines, vets, former cops watching this right now, just laughing their asses off anyhow. I can't believe he's saying this shit out loud. So, because of the visual and the smell and that evening and the whole thing, to get this, and because it's called, it's a what is it? It's a parasite. Because it's a parasite, I connected that automatically with the cats all these years going by. So between the issue with what was the first what was the term on the first one? Bear with me. The Toxoplasma gondii and the trichomoniasis and the whole cat thing, you know, I lumped all that together in my mind. So now you understand why whenever there's cats around, there's crazy people with cats. I just associate all those things together in one thing. So I'm basically giving you a gateway into my mind right here of why I do that, why I consistently jump to that over and over again. Now you should be able to understand it. Again, I'm not going to judge you if you have pets and cats and all that. And oh, by the way, in that recent video, you see the cat there. That's a cool cat. That cat, like, here's the other thing. I mentioned it earlier. I don't approach people's pets. I let them come to me. The overwhelming majority of the time, you know, well over 90% of the time, when I'm at somebody's house, even if they have pets, when they have pets, even if those pets have a reputation for not liking people, most of the time, their animals will warm right up to me and come around. And I hear it all the time from the owners, like, whoa, he never does this or she never does this. I think a lot of that's just my attitude. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but animals kind of dig me. And that's cool. And I like them. It's just some of them make me sick. And that's not their fault. It's not like they're doing that shit on purpose. All right? I get it. But I just have to avoid the cat thing. I don't own pets for a lot of reasons. I like them. They're nice. This little dog, Pepper, at my friend's house, she says to me all the time, it's your dog. You can have her. Like, she's willing to give me the dog because she sees the love that this dog has. And I love this dog. I was thinking about the dog yesterday in my apartment. I was just thinking, I love that little dog. I really do. I really do love that dog. She's a sweetheart. But I don't want a pet. I don't want a pet in my pad. I think people with pets in their apartments, I almost think that's like a form of punishment in a way. Like the poor thing's just in your house all day while you're working. I think that's weird. Plus, I don't like the evidence of animals. I don't like the smells. I don't like the hair. Obviously, I don't like the dander. I don't like the noises. You can't count on your dog being quiet when you're gone. You don't know what's going on in your house. Nowadays, you probably have a camera in your house, so you do know. But yapping dogs, like people have dogs in their apartments and they're gone all day, and something annoys that dog, and that dog's yapping all friggin' day and annoying all the people that live around it. That's bullshit, man. That's bullshit. If I had a house, maybe. But the other thing is, and this is where I admit my sensitivity, because I really am a sensitive person. I had pets when we were little, and we had to get rid of them for different reasons, and it broke my friggin' heart, man. Or when something died, or, you know, if the animal got released, you guys are going to hate this. My dad grew up in a war-torn country, left home at 9 years old for 4 years to participate in the Greek Civil War. We grew up eating animals of all types. I haven't eaten a cat yet, or a dog yet, at least not that I'm aware of. I've eaten everything else. But like when I was real little, if we had a pet that was like sick, like it was going to die, my dad did not bring it to the vet to take care of it. He just took it out in the woods and let it play around and then popped it and then buried it. So the last thought that animal ever had was just having a great time, you know, looking around at life. I think it's kind of mean when you bring an animal to the vet. Cold, sterile environment, people in white gowns, you're not at home, and you're like, what's going on? And then they stick this needle in you, and you sit there, or they gash you, or whatever it is that they're doing. To me, that's like torture. Like the last moments of your pet's life, is it being scared to death, like in some other environment? That, to me, you didn't love that animal, if that's what you got to do. To me, you take it out, and when it's like looking at something or sniffing something, pop, has no idea what just happened. You got to be the type of person to do that, but to me, that's more humane. That's just how I see it. Anyhow, that's how I grew up. So you can make whatever remarks you want to make about that. I'm just telling you that's how it was for me. And the thing was, at one point we had these two dogs. We had a purebred collie and a little puppy. The puppy's name was Lady, and she was half German Shepherd, half collie. And that dog was kind of like Pepper. And just great little dog. When we moved, we couldn't take him, and we had got somebody to give the collie to, but we couldn't find anybody to give the puppy to, so we had to bring her to the pound. And my mom went in there to deal with it, and I'm in the front seat of the car with the dog, knowing we got to give the dog to the pound, knowing if nobody takes this dog, they're going to kill it, which is another thing that happens to animals. And I'm crying my eyes out, man. I'm just crying, bawling. I'm like 9 years old. And the dog's licking the tears off my face. And I'm like, I'm never going to see this dog again. I don't want to go through that shit again. I don't want to go through that again. I'm just avoiding that shit. So yeah. I live my life in a way so I can avoid shit that's going to hurt me emotionally. I avoid that shit. Yes, I fully admit it. I don't have a problem admitting it. I avoid overly emotional shit. Fine, I said it. That's how it is. So now you understand me a lot better. You understand my take on cats, where it comes from, and you understand my humor a little bit more, I hope. I don't like having to talk about this, but now it's out there. And for the guy that made the comment, dude, thank you, actually. You're cool. I know you're cool, too, because I've seen your comments before. This guy's been here a long time. So I think he's kind of funny. I'm sure he's having a little bit of a laugh with me here, but it's written in a way that it doesn't sound comical. But I'm not knocking anybody who's got the cats. But just so you know, you do the research. There is real science behind this. You should look that up and just know. I'm not going to... And by the way, I might have this parasite in me right now. Maybe it has made me crazy. It hasn't made me want to go closer to cats. But I literally poisoned myself for months, breathing in all this cat dander in there. It's not the dander that does it to you, it's the poop. Right? So it's the parasite that's in the poop. So if you get the poop on your hands and somehow you get that in your system, you rub your eyes or something, or if you're drinking water, like if the cat, this is the problem with the litter box. It's not the litter box itself. It's the cat shits in the litter box, or the cat shits in the sand or whatever, and then buries it and it's still on the paws, and then it walks across your lap or touches your face, or you're in bed and your cat gets in bed with you and touches your face after just stepping its own shit. Stuff like that. That's how you're going to get this. That's how it happens. So it's real. Not everybody who owns a cat is crazy. Just most of them. Anyhow, that's it for now. I hope you guys got a kick out of this. I was going to make it way more funny. I had a whole bunch of stuff I wanted to say, but I have no idea how long this has gone because I wasn't wearing my watch. One of my 40 plus watches. I forgot to put one on today. And that's it for now. You guys have a great day. Be kind to one another. I hope you get a kick out of this stuff. Better stuff coming. I promise. I'll catch you on the next one.